off all by itself. It does it itself. Okay?
Yeah, you're right there with me though.
Every time I open the hangar door to go flying, I realize that I'm one of the lucky guys doing something that I dreamt of as a kid.
Smile and wave.
Hi, Ben.
The event this weekend was just a fly-in that we hosted privately, Jordan and I, between Hoosier Aviation and Vintage Wings Aircraft. We decided that we wanted to have our Warbirds and flying family and not discriminating against general aviation, have those in too, and just have a flying family reunion. So we hosted an event that brought airplanes in, and we just had a good time, and it was great to have all of our flying friends here. We would like to have future events. This was a lot of fun. We hope everyone had a good time. If you come to a Hoosier Vintage Fly-In and you leave hungry, well, that's on you. Apparently, we're food pushers here. So, no, we had a great time. We're thankful for everyone that came in. We had a safe fly-in. We had a great time. Thank you all for coming.
Hoosier Aviation Fly-In was an awesome event, and Jordan and Nicole Brown outdid themselves with the ability to put something together and to share an otherwise lost opportunity this year. You get to see some of the flying that was done. See a lot of formation flight with some of the NATA aircraft. See some footage of the USA Sox Black Daggers jump team and their chance to utilize this weekend as a training weekend, and Frost Services and their safety response team and their ability to utilize this weekend as a training opportunity as well. Some of the people that came down, the Warbirds of America members, Flightline Volunteers, pilots, and some of the social gatherings that occurred during the event as well.
I'm Nicole Brown, and my husband Jordan and I own Hoosier Aviation, also Vintage Wings, one of the airplanes behind us. And we have been at the airport since 2011, and we love airplanes. The event this weekend was just a fly-in that we hosted privately, Jordan and I, between Hoosier Aviation and Vintage Wings Aircraft. We decided that we wanted to have our Warbirds and flying family and not discriminating against general aviation, have those in too, and just have a flying family reunion. So we hosted an event that brought airplanes in, and we just had a good time, and it was great to have all of our flying friends here. So the safety portion of our fly-in event, we are good friends with Frost Airshow Safety Team. We feel like they are an invaluable portion to any air show. They bring a level of comfort and safety, and we had a lot of warbirds and a lot of friends on the field, and we wanted to make sure that they knew that we cared, that in case of an emergency, we had people here that had their back. They know every extraction policy. They know everything that they possibly can about each individual aircraft, that if there were a catastrophic event, they can get those individuals out of their aircraft and to safety as fast as possible.
My name is Bob Janacek, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Frost and one of the co-founders that started about 4 years ago. So Frost came up with the concept after the airshow industry had a bad year where we lost a lot of our friends. And being from NASCAR country, I always thought it was interesting that the airshow industry is one of the few industries that didn't have its own safety team that specialized in aircraft. So through some friends and everything else, we put the concept together and started back in 2017. Normally we get about 10 to 12 air shows a year, and this year was supposed to be a really good year, but COVID kind of took that away from us. But 2021 looks like it's going to be a really good year.
Okay. And what is some of the equipment you use with Frost?
So Frost utilizes some of the fastest and most powerful ATVs in the market. Can-Am, BRP is our primary vehicles, and we modify them with compressed air foam and compressed purple K systems that are the highest standard in the industry and tailored specifically to the air show.
What's your typical response time?
I normally do a drill on Friday of air shows. On an average, our response time is about 8 seconds because we can be placed fairly close to the runway and inside the air show environment.
As far as Oshkosh, my family extends rather largely up there, between Flightline Volunteers to pilots, production crews, maintenance people, camping individuals. It's a little bit of everything for me, but it's all Warbirds of America. And while I'm up there, I run ramp ops for Warbirds in Review and Warbird Alley with my good friend Matt Rockmorton, who is also a Terre Haute native and was part of the fly-in. And since we had no airplanes to play with, we wanted to go down there and have some fun with others that felt the same way. So a large contingent of the Flightline Volunteers from Oshkosh came down since they weren't able to have their Oshkosh moment. And this was their opportunity to get their Warbird fix in, as well as see individuals that we normally don't get to see maybe once or twice a year. So I arrived Wednesday. The event wasn't until Friday, Saturday, but I arrived early just to see friends that are down there. So it was my opportunity to spend a little extra time with some Warbird friends. And while I was down there, I was asked to go down there and just help with some of the Flightline operations, just marshaling the aircraft and just maintaining a safety standard that we would normally have at Oshkosh down on the Terre Haute flight line at Hoosier Aviation. So since I was planning on attending the Hoosier Aviation Fly-In, I talked with Sleeping Dog Productions, who I work with at Oshkosh with Warbirds and Reviews, and suggested this would be a wonderful event to produce and put together as far as video and be able to share it with the rest of the Warbird family out there, since not everyone was as lucky as I to attend an event like this with everything else being canceled this year. So I suggested that we go down and get some video and do some interviews and just share an aviation event that actually happened. And so we started putting our heads together as far as what we could do, and went down there with a camera and just started filming.
We're part of the USASOC, that's the U.S. Army Special Operations Command parachute team. It's the Black Daggers. We're also known as the Black Dagger Recruiting Support Detachment. Our primary job for USASOC is to get out and make the public aware of the U.S. Army Special Operations. Black Daggers it's a 24-man team, and it's made up of volunteers from throughout the Army Special Ops community. Primarily, we've got Green Berets, we've got PsyOps, Civil Affairs, and Ranger Regiment guys. So we travel all over the country and the world doing different demonstrations and working with the recruiters and just letting people know what jobs there are out there.
Positive communication. Just if you go out,
Chris Hardy, Staff Sergeant, United States Army. Joined back in 2004 out of Dallas, Texas. Joined as a combat medic, really enjoyed my time as a combat medic, but started seeing different things out there in the Army that we could do, and one of those was small teams. We had Special Forces, Civil Affairs, PsyOps, and went through selection, chose Civil Affairs, and our job is centered more around between the military and the civilian side, so we talk to both and find a mission set in between those two to basically remove civilians from the battlefield and do so that our counterparts can do what they need to do. You can't find a job outside of the Army that's not inside the Army, so that's one of those great things that we try to put out, is that if you can find a job in the Army, you'll get that on-the-job training and be able to move forward with your career.
Staff Sergeant Zachery Kretenstein. I joined the Army in 2007, came in as 11 Bravo Infantry. It's been about 7 years as infantry. Kind of got tired of the same thing every single day. Saw more options that I could do. Saw that I had the possibility to use more brain power and be productive within psychological operations, so I decided to go to the psychological operations selection and assessment. Got picked up. I've been in PsyOp for about 6 years now. Did a couple deployments with them. Came to the Black Daggers about 2.5 years ago, and now I'm sitting on my 3rd year.
The way that my commanding general a couple years ago looked at it is black daggers are a shiny object in the sky that then land on an airfield. You know, we jump into an air show, we walk through the crowd, and we can drag some of those interested parties to where we're repacking and where the recruiters can conversate with them. A lot of the jumps that we do are in front of influencers, not necessarily potential recruits, but like I said, our primary focus is just letting people know what we do. And like me, I've got 8 combat deployments over a 20-year period. But you know, the common thought is that Green Berets are always gone and you're never at home and stuff. And this gets me an opportunity to talk to some people on the ground. So being a Green Beret, I've started my skydiving career military free fall, and so I've jumped in Japan, Korea, Cambodia, Australia, all over. I feel like military-wise, the things that we do now and the demonstrations that we perform are completely different, but kind of along the same lines. I think that between the D-Day jump and then Miami Air Show last year, we put 8 guys on the skid of a Sealand caravan. That was pretty cool.
Jumping out about a mile over the water and having to make it back to the beach.
Yep. Okay, so some of the things that we did over the weekend, we did a combat demo. That's one of the things that sets us apart from all the other teams on the circuit. We're the only team that does the combat simulation. Being special operations, the majority of us come here with military freefall backgrounds. The military uses skydiving to insert behind enemy lines, and so we kind of bring that to the show by jumping with rucksacks and our fatigues with a dummy weapon. And kind of the way that we like starting a lot of the air shows is we will open up with that combat demo. The first jumpers on the ground land in a perimeter and kind of seize the DZ, allowing the POW and the U.S. flags to come in onto that secure site.
Another thing that we do is canopy relative work, or crew. It's where we tend to get different canopies pin each other and stack up on top of one another. We sometimes do 2, 3, or 4 different people in one stack. We can go into different configurations where we have a flag that'll drop below 2 or 3 people. You can do a attached by the hip and do a side-by-side flag. You can also take that into a down plane, which is where both canopies turn away from each other and barrel to the ground. And then we also use today the 5,000 square foot flag in a 2-stack formation.
A couple of months ago, we ended up getting Betsy, that's her name. She's 5,000 square feet of America. So it's a big old giant flag. We jump it like a rucksack. And today was the first day that we've actually stacked crew with it, and we're going to keep on working that technique to make it bigger and better. But I mean, you can see that flag for 20 miles away. So normally we get out and we pop it pretty high. The terminal velocity, it's a lot of weight hanging underneath the canopy, and so if we get 10,000 feet, you know, that flag's out by probably 8,000, and just lets everybody know what's going on.
Social media has so many functions these days, and one of the best parts of social media is the ability to share. And the people out there in the aviation world share so much already, but with the advances in production and the ability to share video, not only live but also pre-produced. It's an opportunity to put the Hoosier Aviation Fly-In together as one of those packages and put it on social media and allow people, not only current members of Warbirds of America, but also prospective members, for them to be able to see what Warbirds is all about, how engaged the members are with not just the aircraft, but the people, because there's an outstanding group of people in the Warbirds of America organization. And every year I get to meet new members and members that I might not have met before. But it's an outstanding organization, and the ability to share the events and put together pieces that show that family connection is just outstanding.
This was a lot of fun. We hope everyone had a good time. If you come to a Hoosier Vintage Fly-In and you leave hungry, well, that's on you. But apparently we're food pushers here. So no, we had a great time. We're thankful for everyone that came in. We had a safe fly-in. We had a great time. Thank you all for coming.
And joining that group of air racers.